All right, everyone. Welcome to your Fundamentals of Speaking class. This is a video that will help you navigate this outlines Prezi. You can avoid this video, or you can watch it and then look through the outlines Prezi or not. It is totally up to you, but I will go ahead and give the lecture that I normally give in class, and you can choose or not choose to watch it. All right, so your first assignment is to give a speech about yourself, a self-introductory speech. And throughout the course, you are also going to have to give several speeches, and you will need to write down an outline. Here's the thing, you don't want to come up here without any training wheels. If you don't have any training wheels sitting up here, you're going to look out at all these people and you're going to suddenly forget how to breathe. You might want to put a little sticky note that reminds you to do so. But having an outline of what your speech actually is will help you to get over your nerves. It will help you stay organized. It will also help you stay in time, because here's the thing. Every full minute that you are over, I drop you a letter grade. Every full minute that you are under, I drop you a letter grade. So you need to practice this, and you also need to have the outline so you're not going in and pretending it's just going to go well, because it won't. All right, so this particular lecture today is to help you prepare for all of your speeches, and it will help you develop outlines that will give you an informal style. I do not want you to come up here and pretend that you're giving the State of the Union speech that is completely up in infrared writing here and you've practiced the whole thing, because that's a job for somebody who wants that job. Keep in mind, you will rarely ever have to give public speeches unless you decide to be a lawyer, a politician, a teacher, an actor, a variety of other things. This particular class is like a worst case scenario. It's public speaking. Public speaking could be you and an interview. You want to practice what is your style of speaking that has a little bit of a professional edge. And why not do it in front of everyone else? Because it's going to force you to communicate to all kinds of people. All right? But you want to sound like yourself. You do not want to sound like a professional speaker. I want you to have your own style, an informal style. So this outline and this lecture today is going to help you do that. All right. Here's a dude who is going, if you could watch this if you would like, this dude, he will give you a public speaking outline example. I'm not going to show this now. You can go back to the Prezi and look at it yourself. Choose your own adventure. Here is an example of a self-introductory speech. If you are completely at a loss as to what to write about, you can watch some of these fools. Keep in mind also lots of online classes have their self-introductory speeches all over the place. You can watch them and see what not to do or what to do. All right. Also on the Prezi, you can look at an outline example. And here is another example of a self-introductory speech. Lots of examples. A good idea to watch some of these so you have a context of how informal it truly needs to be. All right, I have lots of DVDs in my office. This is an online class, but that does not mean you can't come visit me during my office hours. You can also YouTube or Vimeo, a whole bunch of them. You can Google your favorite politicians, comics, writers, etc. Find some examples. This is one of my favorite writers, Elizabeth Gilbert. She gives a really good speech, but she does lots of things I will tell you throughout class not to do. She's even wearing clothes that makes her look like a floating head, but it's a great speech. The topic is wonderful. So I also like to show you things that sometimes it doesn't matter. You can break the rules if what you're saying is good. All right, the parts of a speech. This is where it becomes boring a little bit. These are just how to write your outline. You need an introduction, you need a body, and you need a conclusion. And keep in mind, this will be on your final. There will be a final at the end of this class. You will arrive at that door. I'll have a hat with a whole bunch of topics, and you will pull one out. Or if this is the online class, you will look at the topics. We will have brainstormed them in a discussion forum, and then I will choose them. You will call me or email me, and then you will have 2 hours to record and get that particular impromptu speech to me, so you won't have a lot of time. And I'm going to be looking for these 3 parts: introduction, body, conclusion. You need all 3. They all need to be very clear. Introduction purpose. if you don't have a reason for doing anything, you won't want to do it. Yes, I'm giving you a grade. That's usually not the best reason or purpose to do something. So there's lots of lovely books on public speaking, and one of them is by Arthur Koch, Speaking with a Purpose. And this is what he says are good ideas for an introduction purpose. 2, capture attention. Present your central idea, or when you go to an English composition class, that is your thesis statement. You always want to write these ones in a complete sentence on your outline, because this intro part is when you're the most nervous, and having at least one thing to read is helpful. This also indicates your qualifications. For example, right now, why am I qualified to be presenting here on a little video and giving you a lecture? Well, it's because I went through a really intense process to be hired here. You have to trust that the college system of the SUNY system wants to do that. Should I say that the first day of class? Probably not. You should assume that. But here we go. Here's my speech. These are my qualifications. I have my terminal degree. I'm allowed to teach you these things. Your self-introductory speech, do you have to indicate your qualifications? No. I should hope that you know yourself just a little bit, or at least enough that day to talk to your group of people. And if this is the online class, you want to talk about yourself in such a way that people will be interested in you and will get to know you better. Give your audience a reason to listen. Well, in the self-introductory speech, the reason to listen is I'm giving 2 assignments right at the top of class so that the entire class can get to know one another better. The purpose of that is that the more you know people, guess what? The more comfortable you are in front of them. So, your purpose, the audience, they already know. They want to get to know you, but don't bore them to tears. Choose topics and central ideas about yourself in these first 2 speeches that will help them get to know you better. Preview your main points. This is a very common technique. It's a good way to just stay organized. And a lot of people, we get scared when we're watching people present and it seems a little disorganized. So if you tell us where we're going, we have a little map before we have to hear what you have to say. We know that sooner or later when you're getting toward the end of the speech that you're going to be done, and we're not going to have to sit here and hear you go blah, 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 blah over and over again. So this preview of main points is like a little map. It's very helpful. Types of introductions. Lots of types. Start off with humor. Begin with a brief story. Ask a rhetorical question. Begin with a statistic. Refer to a previous speaker. Refer to familiar terms. Begin with a definition. Begin with a startling statement. Start with a quotation. List a series of examples. Here we go. This is like when you were in 4th grade and you were learning how to write essays, or 5th grade, and your teacher gave you these little rubrics that told you to choose a little topic for, how to do your introduction paragraph. Here we go. Choose your own adventure. You can use 1 or more of these. I wouldn't suggest to do all. You might bore us, but if you can do that quickly and well, that'll be funny. I like funny. Here's a fun guy. You can watch this video about an advice on how to give introductions. I'm not going to show it right now. You can watch it on your own time or not at all. Conclusion purpose. This is the last chance to achieve the purpose of your speech. That central idea or your thesis, you probably should restate it, and you should be maybe looking at all the peepers of the people in the audience to make sure that they are understanding what you were getting at. This is the final impression on the audience. I'm a theater person in addition to a person that teaches fundamentals of speaking, and here's the thing. This is the last thing people remember. So if the last thing they remember was that it sucked, that's what they leave with. They do. They just that sucked. They don't remember anything that was good about it before. That's the last impression. If your last impression becomes what is often what happens in the first 2 speeches, though online, you guys are lucky, you can just delete it. Your poor audience will have to re-watch you do it, and I will never be the wiser. But if you are doing it in class, this is what often happens in the first 2 speeches. You're going pretty good, you have your introduction, you do your body, and then you just stare at everybody, and you abort mission. You just go to your seat and you take a seat. It's awful. It's really embarrassing. We don't know to clap. All of us out here are like, I guess they're done. That was awkward. If you start hearing awkward clapping, that's because you made it awkward. Don't make it awkward. Don't abort mission. Just stay up here. Worst case scenario, this is what I tell people. If you don't have a conclusion, or you've forgotten how to breathe, or you've forgotten how to read because you haven't breathed in so long, at least say thank you. Just say thank you. That's all you have to do. Say thank you. It's easy. Thank you. See? It's not so hard. That's it. I even breathed beforehand. It was a good thing. I do not like this one. There are a couple things. These are not the adventures you should choose. That's it. I'm done. I'm done also reminds me of my friend Jamie Cahoon. If she ever sees this video, she's going to kill me. But her mother was a waitress in my hometown, the Log Cabin, the restaurant, and she used to bring Jamie to work all the time. And Jamie would color pictures. She was a very well-behaved kid. And Jamie would be in the bathroom, and Bunny, that was her mom's name. I'm not kidding. It was really Barbara, but she went by Bunny, or she still goes by Bunny. She's still alive. Anyway, so she would be waiting on people, and then suddenly you would hear in the restaurant, because Jamie ends up being an actress later in life, big voice, "I'm done!" Because she was too short to get off the toilet, so she needed somebody to come help her get off of it. She could climb up on it, she just couldn't get off. So you would hear, "I'm done." Please don't say "I'm done." It always reminds me of a toilet. Some say this is the most important part, and I would agree with them, because if I'm done, that's it, or you abort mission. Those were the things I'm going to remember, and I will grade you accordingly. Types of conclusions. Again, much like when we were in 4th and 5th grade learning how to write essays. You got a little rubric. Choose your own adventure. Here are some that you could choose. End with a call to action. That's where we tell you to do something, like, you've probably heard this before, vote for Obama. Vote for McCain. They're asking you to do something at the end of the speech, okay? Recycle. They're all good. End with a rhetorical question. Very dramatic. Do you want to die? And then you go sit down. It's really good. It's a good way to end. End with a positive vision of the future. End with a restatement of your central idea. Kind of like thank you. This is an easy one. You say you're giving a speech on recycling. You say, "And thank you for listening to my speech about recycling." You just restated your central idea. Worst case scenario, you could have thank you and a restatement of your central idea / thesis, however you want to think about it. End with a summary of the main ideas developed in your speech. Remember in the intro I told you to have a preview? The preview is the little map that you gave for us to listen to. You can just repeat that whole list in the conclusion. It's good. Also, here's a statistic that is very helpful to remember in public speaking. 2/3 of everything we say goes in one ear and out the other, which is a really horrible statistic for me to realize as a teacher, because it means that 2/3 of everything I say in an entire class, no one's listening to, and they're not going to remember. So if you're giving a public speech, if you say it 3 times, if you say it in the preview, you talk about it and elaborate about it in the body, and then restate it in the conclusion, guess what? You said all those things 3 times. They're going to hear it at least once. And then my favorite, end with a negative vision of the future. You'll find throughout these videos, or if you take me in class, I have a bit of a cynical sense of humor. And if you end with a negative vision of the future, I appreciate it. I don't know why, I just do. It's good. Advice on conclusions. This lady cracks me up, by the way. She looks like she never left the 80s and has had a little bit too much Botox. So she has some advice which is actually helpful, and I don't know, her sense of fashion, oh well. Purpose of the body of your speech. The body of your speech is 75 to 85% of the speech. If you don't have a body of the speech, you don't have a speech. The speaker's message is presented in this part. You preview it in your intro, but you have to develop it in the body of the speech. For example, when you're taught to make this little perfect 5-paragraph essay, this is usually the setup, right? You have the intro where you present your thesis statement, or in speaking class we call it a central idea, and then you have 3 paragraphs where you develop all of those things that you said you were going to talk about and discuss, and then in the conclusion you restate all those and you end with something magical, all right? Same deal here. You have to develop it. This is the 3 paragraphs that you have in the middle of those bookended intro and conclusion. It technically is the most important part. As I said, if you don't have this, you really don't have a speech. It develops the central idea or proves it. For example, when we do the persuasive speeches, you will need to prove that central idea, which is easier said than done. Supporting material has to be in there, which proves and clarifies the central idea and the main points. All right. Here's an advice on the body of the speech. This lady's a little boring, but she's very, very thorough. So if you're having trouble with how I'm telling you it, you can watch some of her videos. She has many of them. What needs to be contained in the body of the speech? Well, I've already said this, but I need to repeat it because 2/3 of everything I say goes in one ear and out the other. So if you're actually watching this, I'm going to say it again. The main points. Your main points in your body portion of your outline should also be written in complete sentences. Which, by the way, should you write your speech out completely? No one's going to answer because this is a video, but no, you shouldn't, because any fool can read. I'll say that again. Any fool can read. I'll say it 3 times because you know that's the statistic. Any fool can read. Do not come up here and read. I don't need to watch you reading. It's boring. Any fool can do it. Write an outline, little maps, little picture. Friday, a mind map. I don't care how you do it, just don't write it out completely because you'll just sit up here with no eye contact and you'll just go into reading style. Blah, 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 reading, 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 boring, boring, make me want to stab my eyeballs out. So please don't do that. You also need to put your supporting material here, as I just said, and I'm just repeating it because you need to prove and clarify what you're talking about. If you just come up here and read a list, again, you're reading and any fool can do that. Types of organization for the body of your speech. Now this is the same thing, the rubric when you're writing your intro or your conclusion and your teacher gave you these little options. Here's your choose your own adventure options. A general to specific. You know, we can say, hi, I'm a person. That's general. Specifically, my name is Jessica Barkle. I grew up in northern Idaho, Coeur d'Alene, Idaho to be specific. Hayden, Idaho to be even more specific, but I just say Coeur d'Alene, and there's a variety of reasons for that. I am 36 years old currently in this year, 2015. I have brown hair, brown eyes. Yeah. See? General. I was a person, then we got specific. Chronological order. That's very easy. Hi, I'm Jessica Barkle. I was born in 1978 in Pocatello, Idaho. And then about 2 months later, we moved to Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, where I was raised, and I lived until I was 17, well, almost 18 years old, when I went off to college in Seattle, Washington at Cornish College of the Arts. I was in college there till 2000. I stayed for 3 years after that, did an internship. Then I moved to Bronxville, New York, Yonkers, New York, for those people who actually live there. Bronxville's for people who have money. Yonkers, New York, where I went to grad school at Sarah Lawrence College. Was there for a couple years. Then I decided to serve my country. I flew all the way down to Albuquerque, New Mexico, where I stayed off and on for about 10 years as an AmeriCorps member initially. Then I got hired at a theater. I ran it. Then I went and I was a professor up in Walla Walla, Washington. I came back to Albuquerque. And now I'm here in New York City again, and it is 2015. That's chronological. And it was also kind of a self-introductory speech. All right, space order. Okay, so when you walk in your house, you might go into the foyer, you might put away your coat or whatever, then you might walk into your living room, and then you might walk into your kitchen, and you might walk into your dining room, you might walk into your bathroom in space order. What order it goes in? Cause and effect. If you don't recycle, the climate will get hotter and hotter and we will all blow up. Cause effect. It won't really happen, but there we go. Problem solution. Well, the problem is that we might blow up because of climate change. Solution is live with less. Motivated sequence. Here's the thing. If you are interested in this last one, it's a very difficult technique. There are lots of videos you can watch on it. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. does it probably the best in all of his speeches, and he also likes to break lots of rules. For example, Martin Luther King Jr. likes to have really long conclusions, and they're awesome because he knows that's the best part. So, if you want to learn how to do a motivated sequence, you can look that up, and you can also watch the awesome Dr. King. Order of outline writing. You divide it into 3 parts, and by this time you should know you need an intro, body, and conclusion. You can use standard outline form, and there's a fun little video there for you to learn how to do it. There's also a really awesome website, www.speechoutline.com. You can basically just type in what you want to do, and guess what? It'll make it for you. And then it's there, and then you can print it up. It's nice. Or not. You don't need to. You can make a mind map, which are these fun little things where you make bubbles and you say, this is my main point, and then this is me proving and clarifying it, and a little bubble there, and then I'm going to get another big bubble. That's number them. I don't care how you do it. Depends on what kind of learner you are. If you're a visual learner, you might like these little mind maps. If you are a little bit more of a tactile kinesthetic learner, you might want to make a standard outline form or just use bullet points. But you need something up here. You need training wheels, or you're going to go crazy. Make me crazy and you'll get a bad grade. Standard outline form. Here's an example. Roman numeral 1 is your main point. Capital letter, supporting point. Supporting material is an Arabic number. I don't know if you knew that, but they're from Arab. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, they were Arabic. There you go. Little small letter is your evidence, and then so on and so forth. Other tips for writing in standard outline form. You want to write your main points in complete sentences. Again, that's also a really lovely little touchstone. You have it in not fully written because any fool can read, but you've got them in several little shorthand things. But, main point, I have a whole sentence, which, guess what? You can read that. I gave you a moment where you can read. It's good. Reminds you to breathe. You get to read the whole thing. You won't get lost. Don't write the whole thing, though. All right. Develop your conclusion after you have written your body. You need to know what you're talking about, where you're going, before you write it. Write in your transitions, or else you will have little tick marks next to everything when you will watch me at the back of the room if you're taking it here on campus, and I'll be tick marking every like, so. You feel me? Please don't do that. Write in things that actually are transitions. For example, that's one. Likewise, there's so many. We're going to have a list. Write your introduction last. Transitions. Remember I told you there's going to be a list? In conclusion, in addition, furthermore, also, again, as well as, besides, moreover, similarly, coupled with, and likewise, which is better than like. Please don't use like. Like is my least favorite word. Yeah, don't do it. Blah. And then there is a lovely recording that's just a picture of Dr. King, one of his last speeches, which was given about 2 months before he was assassinated. It is my favorite. Go tell him on the mountaintop. All right, if you have any trouble, you can email me, you can get me on Blackboard, you can call me. There's all sorts of ways to get a hold of me. You can come visit me during office hours. You can call my office phone. All of those things are located on Blackboard. Thank you so much. Have a good day.